Our Stories Festival was really set up to help support people from diverse backgrounds to really get into the industry.
Those people that you see do fantastic stuff, they put in the work.
We're back for another amazing session. There isn't any session that we are putting on today that is not great. We've thought about these things like seriously, just with you guys in mind, hearing feedback, seeing what people want, sometimes what people are moaning about, and how we can provide a solution for that. And this session is no different. It really started off as like a small group session that we were gonna do, but when we put it out, the demand was just too much. And when I was speaking with Sebastian about it, we sort of had as like a buffer, like he said, you know what? If the demand gets too much, I don't mind doing another one. But then the demand went double or triple past what we already planned. So it's like, okay, we just have to make this like a full session. So the idea of the smaller session was literally direct access, where I don't say too much, and it's literally an opportunity for you guys to, you know, ask Sebastian things that are gonna help you guys, whether you end up working with him in the future, whether it's drawing from his experience and ability to get amazing performances out of actors. Like literally, he is here to serve you guys. So please do not be shy. And thank you again, Sebastian, for this. In terms of introducing him, from my perspective, like he is one of the leading like directors from like our community that is really like, no, that's it, that's the end of the statement. That when I say our community, that's not limiting him or putting him in a box like, he's good and he's black. He's good across the board. But when I just look at like projects that pertain to like us, it's only really him and Kobe Adam who are like doing stuff on a mainstream level that like, you know, like caters to stories that I would instinctively see a trailer and be like, I actually want to watch that. Like there's no others, which is probably another session that maybe we do like next year or something. But he, not only does he do amazing mainstream work, he has pioneered show reels. Dare I say single-handedly? Yeah, it must be. Yeah, single-handedly for actors, if I'm completely honest. In terms of like the upshot show reels, like what Damson's show reel did for his career is like industry legend, i.e. like really helping to break him in America, and that's down to you. And obviously his talent, but that format and how you worked with him and all the amazing work that we see with those show reels is, you know, exciting for what we can, what you guys can draw from. I introduce to you guys Sebastian Thiel.
Thank you. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So I'm going to go straight in. I do have a few questions, but please get your questions ready because I'm going to try and throw it over to you guys ASAP, right? So Femi said that your show reels are the main reason why the majority of IAG talent were getting work. I had to get that verbatim, right? That's a huge statement because like Femi's roster is no joke, right? And one of the amazing things about the agency is that cool, homegrown talent, but the rate at which they're able to be exported overseas is amazing. And he said that like you played a key part in that. Like, why do you think that is?
Oh, wow. I feel like, okay, so firstly, I have to like rate Femi for like the format that we built together, right?
Hey, okay.
So it was something that we done years ago. Like I used to do them in my bedroom, bro. Like I used to literally have like actors come down and they'll shoot like little reels in my bedroom, and it'll be like, that was when we done the first few reels, but the format was something that me and Femi developed together, but it was a vision that Femi had. So I could never take full credit for like the actual format. It was something we collaborated on, and he just saw a way of showcasing his talent in a fresh and exciting way without them having materials like previously. Or you know what? It was specifically for US reels, so they might not have been able to showcase their accent, and this was a way for them to do it. And this was a way to show loads of different types of characters all in one, and just give people a burst of their talent, right? And then it just grew from there. Like it was working for them for identity, and they were, you know, like we done reels early on for people like Toby Bakari, Melanie Liebert, Letitia Wright, Damson Idris, Malachi Kirby, like so many people, and it was I guess just used as a way to showcase themselves, really.
I love it. That's interesting, because I didn't know that you guys like collaborated on that. So thank you for that insight.
Yeah, it was like a private. It wasn't. It's only been public in the last 3-4 years. Like I've been doing them since I was like maybe like 19 or something.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like, but it was private. It was only for identity.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it was, to be honest, it's Damson posting it on YouTube that kind of made everyone go, who's doing these? And then it kind of spiraled into this, okay, maybe it will be an open service and stuff. So yeah.
Amazing. So in watching some of these iconic like reels, right, how do you get such groundbreaking performances out of the actors? Because that's also another thing that Femi specifically mentioned about you. Like you're just able to draw that out. So how?
Yeah, I find it interesting because I feel like I try to not get in the way. So I don't feel like it's all just me. It's never it's never really just the director, you know. It's like the actors bring that bass, and the director works on kind of working out the tone and how far to take things, whether they need to slow it down or whether they so you kind of monitor those type of things. But in terms of performances, what I can take it back to is maybe my process. And in terms of my process, I've done what I can do to try and make myself understand actors better. And that might be, so for example, I done like a bit of a acting course. I hated it. I can't do it. Like I really love actors and the vulnerability that they have, but for me it's like, it's a really awkward experience. I like being from the outside and kind of doing that, and actors come from like the inside, and it's very different. But it was really good for me to do that, and for me to understand how vulnerable they are, and so it made me a bit more sensitive when I was working with actors, and I was able to kind of pick up on things and communicate in a particular way. And I think from doing the reels for so many years, I've seen so many actors. So like you start to see patterns in behavior, patterns in how people are, how they, just how they are as humans. And I think the more you understand humans and human interaction and what is driving people, the better it is when you're directing. So I think it's there's so many factors into it, but I've tried to do my inner work as well as work on the craft, I guess, a bit.
I love that. After this question, it's over to you guys. What tips would you give actors when they're coming to work with you? And that's both on set and also for reals, just in case that's different.
Tips.
And I guess this is more so for like emerging actors.
Okay, cool. Well, know your lines is obviously like a simple thing. But I think, you know what? It's like, I think you need to know your lines, but also you need to know it's really good if you can have an understanding of the tone of something. So like the tone of that show, like if it's a comedy, what type of comedy? Where is the comedy coming from? If it's a drama, how is it? What type of performances is it? Is it naturalistic, or is it very underplayed, or is it stylized? Like, like Sorry to Bother You, you know that film? yeah, it might be like so there's sometimes it's just about if you understand the tone when you do go into auditions or you do go in to do certain pieces, you're already doing part of what the director would do because it's part of managing tone, I guess. And then other little tips is like this sounds like a random one, but this is what I've seen for emerging actors. Like on Instagram, like have your full name, like little things like that are really because I do find people via like Instagram a lot of the times. Like it might be people that I've banked in my head from like just seeing their work or something like that, and like literally I've been in situations where I can't find them. They're named differently. So I think that's a very simple thing, just like your name, your brand, and then lines, subtext. So understanding your text, but then layering it with like subtext, knowing how to break down scripts and things like that. So yeah.
Amazing. Questions? Any questions from the audience? Yes, I will let you guys do mic duty. Yes. And then feel free to take it a bit deep and some people that haven't asked questions before as well. But great job, guys. Thank you.
Hi, Zena. Nice to meet you.
Hey.
So I've looked at a lot of your monologues that are on Instagram, and obviously you've set this bar really high for monologues. But I'm hearing increasingly that casting directors are wanting duologue scenes. So is that something that you do as well? And secondly, do you assist the people that come to you in scene selection, or do they just bring their own scenes?
Oh, okay. So firstly, in terms of scene selection, I don't usually assist people, but we give them resources so they can look for the monologues through those links. And in terms of duologues, I've heard like people have come to us about doing duologues. I think it's quite interesting because there was a time when we were doing monologue reels and like no one was really doing them, and they kind of became a bit more of a thing. So I don't know, maybe duologues is just because they want to see more of how you react with someone else and stuff. But in terms of us, it is a service that I've been thinking of. I'm just thinking of how to do it without overcomplicating it, because one thing I could do is show reels that are scenes, as in like in a living room and in here, where you do like those kind of mock-up scenes, but I'm not a fan of those personally. Like I always try and simplify it. So we'll most likely stay in the monologue world, but if I can find a way to do it, I will, yeah.
Amazing. Next question. The mic should be, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Hi, I wanted to know, from when you started till now, how have actors' processes changed, and have they come to you differently now with like their styles and their choices? And has that changed the way you film them?
Oh, that's interesting. No, I haven't seen like a change in actors in that respect. I think the type of change I've seen has been like through, for example, doing, when you have auditions and now most of them are through tapes and it's not in person. I'm not a fan of that process, but I get it because of speed and obviously COVID. But I prefer to be in like the room with the actor and kind of exploring things and seeing how they work. Because I think when you do audition tapes, what happens is, for me personally, I don't know if it's the same for other directors, but for me personally, you tend to start looking for people to do exactly what you want, rather than being more. Well, I don't find myself as open as I would be in a room, because you kind of look at videos and you kind of filter in a quicker way than you would if you had someone in a room. So that's something that I'm not as much of a fan of in terms of like some of the changes. But in terms of performance, no, not really. No, I haven't. It's people. Acting is all about human behavior and how people are. So I think at the end of the day, at its core, you're dealing with people, and I haven't seen anything like yeah, I haven't seen anything. Where did that question come from? Have you seen something? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's interesting. It will have me thinking. So, yeah.
Great question. Great question. Yes. Next question.
Hey Sebastian, you're right. My name is Patrick. You're right.
Hey
I
there.
just wanted to know what are or can you name two big mistakes that emerging actors make upon their journeys that you would wish, they didn't do, or something that we could kind of learn from, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think so. One thing that I was talking about in terms of understanding the tone. So, like when you get a script and you do a show, for when you do audition for something, like if you understand the tone of the show, I feel like a lot of auditions will be better because they'll understand where the show's going and what type of performance to give it. So I think tone and then subtext. Like there's a lot of the time I see people not having any like subtext or layers like within their performance, and I think that that's something that lets them down. And I don't know if that comes from not doing like the groundwork or maybe lack of training. I'm not so sure, but that's something that I notice. And then I think you said two, but I'll give one more. Yeah, I think like that the inner work element. So like the more work you do on yourself to like understand yourself and like I don't know whether it's trauma or what triggers you as a person or things, just understanding yourself, then the more I feel like you'll be able to understand other characters that you play and be more sensitive to that. So I think just living life in general and trying to improve yourself and being self-aware and all of that plays a big part in what you can take into characters and into acting, and also it might also take away from the pressure, because I think sometimes you have people that go into auditions or do monologues and they're very like, I want to kill it or I need to do well, and that energy you can always feel it, and it plays a part in what they're doing in their performance. Like, and I think a lot of the people that I've found, like when Damson done his reel, for example, I'll just use him as an example because a lot of people know Damson, but I mean, when he done his reel, he was just very sure of himself. Like, it wasn't about like trying to do one up or anything. Like, he was just like very set and grounded in his character, and he could play and have fun. And it's almost like there's this moment, there's these great moments that you have with actors where it's almost like they're not even thinking. They're in the moment. So I think all of that, it's easier to do that, or it's maybe you can get closer to that when you've done that kind of work.
Great question. Who's next?
Hi, Sebastian. My name is JZB, Joyce Harabina. I was going to ask that question, but my second question would have been, firstly, thank you as an actor, thank you for actually using your initiative to take classes as an actor, for acting classes, because it can be a bit frustrating when you're talking to directors that aren't clear in their way when they're communicating to us. And I wanted to ask, what led you to do that, besides the obvious reason, learning how to communicate with actors and being in our shoes? You should tell all your other director mates to do that too, by the way. It would help us. But yeah.
What led me to do that? I felt like I was telling people to do things that I just wouldn't do, and I just felt like, oh man, it's like I'm just making people send outs. I'm just like, you go and do this. I would never do that, but you do it. And it was like I don't know. It felt like I should at least experience. I should have that experience, so that whenever I'm telling people to do something, it's coming from a place of understanding. It didn't mean that I was going to ever try and be an actor or anything like that, but it was just so I can come from a place of understanding and and just be more sensitive, because I think what happens, well, I don't see a lot of directors work because we don't get to really collaborate with each other. But different people have different approaches, and I find that I like to be more intimate with actors. So because you've got a big ask, so you don't want to like shout things at them or anything like that. You want to I like to keep things a bit more one-to-one, and I think that experience helped that, you know? I think one thing I need to do though, one thing that I'm just learning is just like how to be more concise, like with direction, because it doesn't need to be so complicated sometimes, you know? You could either sometimes tell people just slow down, or, you know, you can give people replacement thoughts or like verbs or things that are like quicker actions for actors. So yeah, you're welcome.
Amazing. You really care about your actors, didn't you? Yeah, next question.
Hello.
Hello. I'm Hallie. Thank you so much for giving us this insightful chat today. I just wanted to ask, because you've been talking about like tone and how to grasp the tone as an actor, and I know that you said before, like as a director, that's also something that you have to do, grasping the tone of a project. But sometimes, like when you get the audition brief, I'm just like, it's a bit difficult to connect the dots of how to get the tone. So I was wondering, like, things you would recommend to do to get the tone of a project.
Yeah, damn, that's very true. It's true, because sometimes you might just get sides and not the whole script or anything like that. But you know what? I'm just trying to think what type of thing I would do. And it would probably be to look at the director's previous work, to look at the people that are making the production, look at where their tone usually sits, and also then using a bit of your initiative in terms of when you do the piece, like if you do have different variations, then maybe you can slide into slightly different tones. But also you have to just go with your gut as well at times. Like I know there's no exact science to it because you never know, and sometimes just how you do it would be great. And so it's a bit of a tricky one, but I think if you focus on the elements you can control, which is, okay, cool, I know the director's work, I get this, I get that, and then you make a decision based on some of that and part of your instincts and your training and working on the subtext, and I think you should be in a closer place. But I think a lot of people just don't even do that. Like from what I've seen anyway on tapes, I'm like, this is like completely somewhere else. Like you can tell straight away that there's been no thought in that area. So some thought would help a lot.
Amazing, great question.
Hello. Me. I've got the mic already. Pierre.
So,
me right here, Rico.
oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm like, who is this voice?
Yeah. Got to be aggressive,
you
man.
are.
You know
There
what I
you
mean?
are.
Yeah, I'm Rico Morris, actor, writer, or new writer anyway. So quick question, what does a session actually look like with you? Because from memory, I don't know if I'm right, do you multicam? Did Damson have more than one monologue and then you edited it up? Because I know now from the most recent ones, it seems like they're just doing one monologue. So yeah, what does a session actually look like?
Okay, cool. So the thing is, back in the day, I had no. People used to come and do a monologue, and I might be with them for 3 hours, 4 hours. Like it was just not the same. So there's a bit more of a format to it. I think Damson did like 6 or something. I can't do that. But I mean, he done 6, and he also Damson done something that no one's done, but it's till this day no one's done this. It's almost like he cut the monologue in his head, because he came out with lines. He had like maybe like 2-3 monologues, and then he done one which was just lines. Like he'll just say random lines. He'll be like, "I love you," and then he'll turn around and he'll just do something else, and he'll be like, "What?" And he'll just carry on just going ham, just saying different lines. It was amazing to watch. But I mean, so he found a process, and this is what I mean about like initiative. He was like, I know how the monologues cut. and I know how people do them, so I'm gonna do this so I can show so much range, and he was just playing. But in terms of the process now, people can do that if they want to do the line thing, but in terms of the process now, we do 3 monologues, each 2 minutes each, and then we do maybe about 3 takes on a mid shot, 3 takes on a close up for each of those monologues, and then I edit it after. And that process is like over maybe about an hour and 15 minutes. We go through different variations of takes, trying to get as much variation so I can pull out, you know, loads of different types of performances. And yeah, it's a very intimate session. It's just myself, and we work together and just try and explore and play. Like it's yeah, there's no pressure, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know, does that give you a breakdown? Cool.
Amazing. That's a gem there. Like yeah. Well, cool. Thanks. We're gonna keep passing the mic around, but I have a question, so I'm also here. So yeah.
Do you want to go?
So like Supercell. So you directed on Supercell, which everyone is excited to watch. Can't wait, right? Yeah, go on.
My face done that because I don't know how much we can talk about it.
Okay, cool. Well, do you know what? The bits you can't, that's completely fine. My only question is, right, like, given the scale of the show, caliber of the actors, like, how did you work with the actors on a show like Supercell?
Yeah, as we I can't go into Supercell fully right now, but I mean, just because you know, it's not out or anything like that. But I mean, in terms of the process, it will be the same process that you have in every other show. I think like the scale only helps with the toys you have on set, like really, and sometimes more time, but there's never enough time on set. Like, there's never enough time, even if you, like, have more time. It's just never. Every actor or every director, everyone probably feels like that on set. But what else? What was different? I think there was more rehearsal. There was more rehearsal time as well, because in TV you don't tend to get rehearsals or a lot of rehearsals at all, which is very different. But other than that, as I said before, it's all about just dealing with people and human interaction. So it doesn't really feel that different. It doesn't really feel that different to me, as long as you're working with people closely. I don't know. It's really hard.
No, that's fine. If
thinking.
it's completely the same, that's fine. I just wanted to know, because sometimes I guess people might have a certain expectation of, like, if one of these guys books like a huge job tomorrow, they might have like a weight on themselves of like, but I've only had a few scenes in this TV show or done this short film, etc. What are they going to expect of me? How do I prepare? And it sounds like what you're essentially saying is like, do you know what? You got the role because you're good, so continue doing what you've been doing.
Yeah, I think so. I think the weight, in terms of where that kind of weight comes for actors, it might be where if they're getting a role where it's a smaller, they're usually doing smaller like supporting roles, and then they get a lead role. And like with a lead role, you have more of a responsibility, and there's maybe more of like a character arc or character journey. So like doing that kind of work, there's more of that. And I think for me, supporting the actors on that is the same. So from my experience, it's always the same, but I understand what you mean now. Like for the actor, it can be slightly different moving from smaller things to a big thing. Yeah. For me, it's more, the changes are more technical. So it would be more, if I was talking to filmmakers, I think the changes would be around kit, time, dealing with more people, the pressures of that, doing VFX, doing SFX, all of that, green screen, all of that kind of stuff is where it changes, you know?
All good. Back to you guys.
I've got the mic.
Go for it. All right, you guys running the show?
Hi, Sebastian. I'm Yasmin, and I just wondered what advice you'd give to someone who was choosing material for them they're real, and like, is there any specific things that you'd want them to hear? Or has anyone just brought anything to you and you've just been like, nah, that's not it?
Choosing what? A reel?
Yeah, like choosing material for
material.
the monologues.
Yeah, if you're like 18, don't be like a wife or something like that with kids and stuff. Like, I mean, think of things that you could play. But also, one thing the reason why I do the reels as well, or the reason why we do the reels is because it allows you to position yourself how you want to be positioned, right? Like, you get to have the power back. Like, this isn't a role that's out there. This is like, you get to be like, okay, these are the kind of things I want to do. Let me line this up. So that's how I would say people should think, but at the same time, be realistic of what those type of things are. And when I mean realistic, I don't mean don't aim big. I mean literally your casting type or age or things around that area. And that's pretty much it. And I think in terms of, when people do the monologues, they pick 3 contrasting pieces, and those pieces are, in terms of contrasting, it can be contrasting in terms of character, so how you embody the character, those different roles, or it could be around tone and genre, so you could do a comedy piece, a drama piece. All of that is dependent on the actor, what they want to do and what they want to display. This is why I can't play too much of a part in that. Usually actors will either to their agents, or they just might bounce ideas with their friends, but it would be a really long process for me to do that, to start recommending. I'd probably have to watch material, have like meetings and all of that. I don't know if I have that capacity yet to do that. But does that help? Does that give you a bit of an idea? Yeah.
Really good points. Sorry, I'm not. Yeah, you guys, please. I don't want the pressure.
How you doing?
Yes.
How you doing, brother? So what's your process to giving direction to an actor? So are you more of you allow your actor to have play and more improv, or are you more of a director that, no, I want it this way and I want it that way? Does that make any sense?
So in terms of how I like to play, I like to give actors a lot more freedom. I'm trying to think of how to word this for actors. There's a different way to kind of word this for actors, but like, because the thing is, look, the reality is you want to give them freedom, but you still have a goal and an aim, and you still have a story that you need to tell for a particular show. But I like to give them, I won't give line readings. Yeah, I won't say it like this. You know, I'll more so say, you want to console this person or something. And then however they deliver it is, if it's true to that, it'll be close to what I want anyway. Do you get what I mean? So it's finding, and that's why it becomes a bit of a harder craft, because you need to then know the right words and the right things to say to provoke a particular kind of performance. And then also the actors need to be intelligent in that respect to be able to translate that note. And some actors, not that they're not intelligent, but some actors might not necessarily have the skills to translate those words. So then, as a director, we have to adapt, then find other things. So then I might look at more so replacements or something, or memories. Some people work really good with memories, like, have you ever felt like this before? And then they'll be able to use that. Or you might, so there's loads of different ways to kind of get what you want. And I think it's always, for me, my process is always to try and find a way that makes them feel like they get to play. They are playing, but they also, they feel more ownership over it. Make sense?
Thank you. Great question. Next one, yes.
Hi, I've got the mic.
Oh, wait. But I think, yeah. No, you ready, though? You ready. Yes, the gentleman at the back. Go for it, yes. You almost robbed, sir. But
oh, me? Oh, sorry.
You weren't even ready? Okay.
Hi, my name's Tommy. I had a question about chemistry. Like, have you had a personal example where you met actors who have very good chemistry either with you or with their partner and it's flowed really well, or the opposite? And I know it kind of links with professionalism, but do you feel like it's beneficial for actors to build chemistry if they don't have it, or they just go on set, be professional and bounce? What's your take on that?
Oh, it's a good question. Because I think chemistry, I feel like you do want to work with people that you can kind of get along with, right? Or that understand how you would like to work and you share the same sensibilities. And that, I guess, a bit of that comes from chemistry. And I think if you look at loads of directors, they usually have the same, like they have like a batch of actors that they like to just use because there's like a shorthand, they get each other. And also when you're on set with people for such a long time, and it's an emotional playground, and you're dealing with emotions all the time, and you want to probably deal with people that you can kind of get along with, but it doesn't mean So then, sorry, to your second point though, in terms of chemistry between actors, usually you would try and sort that out in casting. Like if you try and pair people up in a particular way, and then you can do chemistry reads and things like that. So hopefully that gets you closer. But yeah, there are scenarios and times where you just know people just don't gel, and it's very hard. It's a very hard thing to deal with when actors might not gel, and sometimes that can create really great performances because there's always like subtext. Yeah. There's always something underneath. So it can be really good, but I mean, it is a difficult part if it starts to affect professionalism and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. There's so many parts to your question. I don't know if I've answered all of them, but it's definitely made me think. Yeah.
So have you ever done that? Like cast as people that don't get on because it works?
You usually don't cast them because they don't get, like, you didn't know it wasn't gonna. You wouldn't cast them if you knew it wasn't gonna work. Yeah, does that make sense? You think it's gonna work, and then it doesn't work. That's where the problem is. Okay. You get what I mean? You don't. I would never intentionally do that.
Okay.
That
of course.
That is like because actors are very like. I shouldn't say this around actors, should I? I was gonna say very emotional. Well, I'm sure you would all agree. Like actors are very like emotionally intelligent. I should say that. I'll say it like that.
Yes.
But so I think, yeah, like why would you even get emotionally intelligent people that hate each other together? I don't know.
Yeah, it could get emotional. It could. Next question.
Yes. Hello.
Sorry, we're back. We are back. Yes. Thank you. I apologize.
I thought you was going to pass on it. Okay. My name is Misai. Hi, everyone.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for mentioning the fact of IG and their names. I've had an alias over 15 years, and I've used that on Instagram and all my social media. So that's a little kick up the butt. Yes, I'm going to sort. I've got one there, but it's only got 2 pictures. And so, yeah, I'm going to organize that. Thank you. Okay, I've got 2 questions. One question, the first question is, I have been doing acting over 20 years. But it's been more stage. Sorry, I was born in Liverpool, so accent will slip out sometimes. It's been more stage than screen. And I've done my own show reels, because throughout the years I've been doing it. I didn't go to finish or do any schools, so I'd done all my acting on my own, kind of a thing, no agents or anything like that. So people was like, why don't you go on Spotlight and all of this and all that? I said, well, I haven't got anything. So my advice to everybody here is get your whatever you do, ask them for a clip of what you've done so you can help build your show reels. So that's what I've done, and I've done my own show reel. But I've combined the stage and the screen. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know, to be honest, because I'll tell you why.
What would you do if you saw that? Is it wrong to
I don't think there's a right or wrong, because you know when you really want an actor, you don't really care. So a lot of the times, if you really like someone, you kind of look at things in a different way, even if they're not packaged. They might have even done their self-tape, and the lighting, everything might be trash, but it's like, oh wow, the talent. But I have that kind of, that's what I would do. And some people might just want things to be separate, like stage, theatre over here, this material over there. And I would probably recommend that, but I think that's more of an agent and how they position you, and maybe casting directors, because I look at things differently as well. Like a lot of the times when we do auditions, it's already gone through a filtering process, and the materials I get have already kind of been packaged in a particular way. So I'm not entirely sure. My impulse says separate, but if it's all you have and it's really good, maybe it's the best thing. I don't know, to be honest. Yeah, sorry.
Good point. Thank you. Great question. I'd say we've got time for 2 more questions.
Hi, Sebastian. My name is Leah. I'm a writer moving into the directing, producing space for this TV show idea that I have. And obviously, with this whole journey, I'm realizing that like the TV shows that we watch and the films that we watch is generally just like a huge group project. As a director, how do you navigate and establish a sense of collaboration between you and your actors? Because obviously you guys have both been presented with the same script. Either you wrote it or somebody else has wrote it. But how do you overcome the sense of like an over-present actor who wants to do something a certain way? Or like you see how certain people have been asking questions of getting out of their head. How do you navigate the sense of we're both trying to establish the same thing? Or even within yourself, how do you put yourself in the actor's shoes so that they feel comfortable and you feel comfortable as you do something together?
It's a good question, because it's like, I think that's really difficult to manage, like, because okay, so like, I remember watching, who was it? There was Samuel Jackson done an interview, and I think he was talking about how he was working with like a young director, and they wanted to do like a take here and a close up and a wide and this and that, and they were doing so much, and he was just like, no, not doing it. Like, and it was like, and then that made me, when I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, imagine like working with like certain actors and they're just like, no. Like, and but then I get what he was talking about, and I think sometimes removing your ego from it really helps in terms of looking at the scenario. Like, there's been times where I've been on set and I have this grand plan. I'll be like, yeah, like instead of being in a car, they're gonna be outside, and you're gonna be walking and talking and doing this and da 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 da. Then you go on set, you've talked about it already with your DP. And then I go, and then I bring the actors in for line reading, and then they're looking around, they're like, where's the car? And then we carry on talking. I'm like, no, I've got this great idea. And then there's like this whole thing of like, nah, man, this don't make sense. Like, it should be in a car. Like, and then you're like, but I've got like these ideas that are really cool. But I think if I remove like, there's been scenarios where that's happened, and I've been like, you know what, you're right. Yeah, like this, you're right, it'll work better. And there's been other times where I've kind of been like, won them over, and they've been like, oh, you know what, I never saw it like that, you've won. So I think there's a constant thing of having, for me anyway, my process is vision, let's do whatever is the best vision, let's work together and try and tell this in the best way that we can. But I don't think everyone would have that approach, because that can also sometimes get in the way of what you've locked in. So, yeah, hope that helps.
Thank you. Very gracious answer. Before our last question, I just want to highlight something. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad, but Leah, you said that you are currently making a project, which sounds like you probably will be looking for actors. So you just happen to be in a room full of them. So feel free to speak to Leah afterwards. Okay, yeah, you want it. There you go. There she is. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and when I spoke to you, you sounded like your project was very well put together. So, yes, there we go. Last question.
Hi, yeah. Have you ever shot anything documentary style? And if you haven't, how would you do that? And especially if it's like in memory of someone you love.
Yeah, I've done documentaries. So a lot of the stuff that I've done early on in my career was on YouTube. So I've done loads of YouTube sketch shows. So we've done like all of A.Dot's comedy stuff, and then we've done like a few short films. And then I started to move into documentaries through doing corporate videos. Like I was just trying to do anything just to finance what I was doing on Upshot TV. And then, yeah, and then I ended up doing a documentary where we shot something in Kenya, and I've done a few other ones and stuff. And I really enjoy the process. I really like it because you're working now with like real people, and the way you work with that is very different. And also you see the power of editing a lot more through that process. So when you're in the edit, you can shape stories however you wish. Like, I mean, with documentaries, you can just, the way you can cut things will make someone feel a completely different way, you know? Like, even more so than in narrative content, I think, like scripted. So, but yeah, it's really, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun process. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Can we have a round of applause for Sebastian?